Reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network. Hello everyone, Chris here, and we're going to take a look at LOTRO Update 13. This is the one, folks. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for forever. And play! Woo! So I've got Aaron Rowan Campbell here, and let's chat a little bit before we get going.
Hi, I'm Aaron Campbell, executive producer of the Lord of the Rings Online.
Aaron, it is so wonderful to have you back too on LOTRO. What was the one thing that you missed the most from the LOTRO community moving over into the DDO? What was the one thing that you missed the most being over there?
Oh goodness.
Not to make you throw the DDO players under the bus or anything, but
no. When you said community, so because my first response is I missed the team. All right, on LOTRO, I worked with folks here for a long time. Since 2006. So, I've been spending a lot of time going back through and talking to people on the team, and shockingly, I know everyone. It's amazing. So there's deep trust there and a deep connection, and it's all very familiar and exciting to me on that score. In terms of the game community and so on, we don't talk about it too much, but the players on DDO and LOTRO are very different. Priorities, very different, kind of gameplay goals. And that's actually really cool. That's really good because it reflects back on the people who are making it and makes them very different games as well.
Cool. So you've now come back. Congratulations on the promotion, by the way.
Thank you.
And what is the biggest thing here? We've got update 13. We'll be taking a look at that in just a little bit of time here. But I mean, I have to say I remember a certain, I don't want to say drunken conversation at a Turbine community party in Boston at some point. But at that point, when you confirmed with drink in hand that there would be end play, had the work already started?
Oh yes. No, we've been prototyping.
What was?
Well, I mean, Chris, we've been having this conversation for 5 years now.
Yes, we have.
Like I'm pretty sure. And every time it was, Aaron, is there end play? Aaron, is there end play? And at first it was no, and then it was maybe, and then it was yes, it's coming soon, and then for a little while it was, well, we already do that on DDO, so why are you asking?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
And now we're there. We've reached that point.
Now, we've actually traced the chronology of this back for you, just to make sure. And if you remember, a very, I don't want to say disastrous, but there were more Turbine people there than LOTRO players there when we had our little meetup at my first PAX that I went to, and you were there, and Patience was there, and we had a whole bunch of people there. After that conversation in that pub was when the first mention of end play was made on our podcast, and all the way through there. So yeah, it's been since PAX 2009. That's where it originally started. So what are you most excited? I mean, I know I'm most excited about end play in this update, but what are you most excited about in this update?
Well, it has to be end play, all right? I mean, this is
good
piece
man
of our entire game right now. I can't see anything else that overshadows it. I'm just glad that you came up with the idea, and that I'm looking at Made Alliance here, who was able to deliver on the promise of it.
Now, did Rick work out where to send the checks to for my cut of the royalties?
But
Gosh, I hope so.
the engineering commitment was substantial. I mean, it's just why it's taken so long.
I've also been preparing the art team for this since probably like Dunland or Enemy. I think we've been actually preparing them for, as we get closer to Isengard, you guys know that we're going to need to eventually do this.
Now, that's actually the sincere. The artist did need to be prepared for this.
So we'll see it in just a minute, but can you give us a quick overview of what end play will be? I mean, we'll see the details of it when we watch the video here in a minute, but give us a quick overview.
I mean, the primary piece of this is you're going to play as Treebeard, right? As Fangorn himself.
Mm-hmm. And we play as him twice.
You play as him twice. And you'll be interacting with Merry and Pippin, who are small creatures, and you're not quite certain about them. They're a little strange, a little odd. And the time that passes will pass as it would for an Ent, naturally. So I really like what Jeff has been able to do with making those rapid, hasty little hobbits appropriately sped, because as an Ent, you're just doing your thing, going about your daily business, conducting a moot, etc.
Now, is there any chance that there will be any sort of, I don't know, hobbits on shoulder rock throwing moments in the game?
Made Alliance insists he cannot confirm or deny. I think it's likely. I think there could be something there.
I don't want to say that there were 2 art requests made, but there might have been.
Okay, so let's jump in game and check out what Update 13 has in store.
So I've been asked to set the scene a little bit for where we are in the story. So I did a little research recently, and I realized that we have been in Volume 3 of the epic story, Allies of the King, for about 4 years at this point. So it is with great delight that we are wrapping up this volume of the epic story in this update. And we're doing that at Isengard. Essentially, this volume started way back in the Trollshaws at Rivendell with the gathering of the Grey Company, the Rangers, Aragorn's kinsmen, and their journey south to rendezvous with him in Rohan. And what this means is that we had a pretty consistent threat for much of this volume. Saruman, the formerly good and now thoroughly evil wizard, has been our sort of main opponent. First for the Grey Company, because they're traveling through Enedwaith and Dunland and getting close to his stronghold at Isengard, which is where we are right now. And he has his sights set on Rohan. So he has been breeding his armies to attack Rohan, which was depicted in several expansion packs, including the recent Helm's Deep. So we have had a consistent threat for most of the volume, and here at the end we are going to wrap up the threat that he has posed. So most recently in the Helm's Deep expansion, he sent his army out to attack the fortress of the Hornburg, and through the epic battle system, players were able to fight back and defeat his force. And now, in this update, which the epic story for which begins on the field of victory outside the fortress, you pretty much have to decide what to, how are we going to deal with Saruman now that his army has been defeated? Like, what is going to become of him? And the answer is you go to Isengard. But it looks a lot different than when we saw it last, all the way back possibly in Book 4, Rise of Isengard. Now we get here and the wall has been trashed, the gate is smashed down. Like, this is a very different looking Isengard than what we remember. And so much of the content of this update is to figure out what happened here and what brought it to look like this. So what crazy force has been unleashed to wreck Isengard, to break Isengard.
And when we began this volume, volume 3, that was with the Rise of Isengard expansion, right? 4 years ago, roughly.
It was a little before.
A little before that. But when we first brought Isengard to life, this is Aaron. We'd already had in plan we were going to do 3 versions of it. Right? We needed a pristine version where you could go back and see Isengard as the fortress of the White Wizard. We needed a version that was the height of Saruman's armies and evil powers. And then we needed this one, and we finally gotten to the flooded Isengard.
Yeah, so this is the 3rd edition, as it were, of this fortress. And the interesting thing that I think is important to note is that the other versions of Isengard are still in the game and still accessible. Like, you will still be able to go to Isengard as it existed at the height of Saruman's power. But you'll also be able to come here during this update and see it as it is now. But if you wanted to, you could go back. You could experience the session where you see pristine Isengard in a flashback prior to the main events of the story. And all those still exist. So this is Isengard on the surface as the waters have come in and have flooded the place. And much of the content of the update is determining how this came to be. So we can also go to the caverns below Isengard and to see what has become of it down here. Now, during Rise of Isengard, players might have been held captive down here. So I think there's something almost therapeutic about coming back to this place and seeing it in this state, where Saruman's power has been greatly affected. It reminds me of the early days of LOTRO, where we were trying to affect a world change. Like, for example, in Archit, where you experience the town of Archit in its when it is thriving, as it were, and then early on in the newbie experience, it is thriving somewhat less, as brigands set fire to the town. And so you get to see two places that are greatly different, that we have experienced change. And this is similar to that, but on a much larger, more grand scale. And with serious consequences for the villain of the piece, which is a welcome and refreshing change, that perhaps the villain is getting what he is due for.
Well, this we may have to do some trickery for Chris, right?
Yes, we are potentially going to break the game by taking Chris into, or taking a buddy into what should be a solo instance.
So we'll try and work the magic. This is a session play interlude. There are a couple in this update. This is optional. There are some people that don't that might want to remain as their characters, don't want to play the game from another perspective. But by making use of these optional instance encounters, we can show elements of the story that we otherwise wouldn't be able to get to, because perhaps they're pretty thoroughly described in the books. Maybe they didn't mention like my dwarf champion or whatever. Like, maybe they didn't mention my player character, but we can. But we still want to depict these moments. And in this one, you play as Treebeard when he encounters Merry and Pippin for the first time. This instance is when you encounter Merry and Pippin yourself, like your player character, Merry tells you the story of how he and Pippin met Treebeard and the Ents. And so this instance is structured as if Merry is telling you the story. I am unreasonably proud of the script that changes their names from small creature to Merry or Pippin when Treebeard learns their names.
I'm also pleased at this point that Chris's character is a hobbit, so he's at least be appropriate showing up in the space there.
Even though Treebeard doesn't really seem to care.
It's Merry and Pippin and Tyler Durden. So Treebeard has agreed to bring all three of our hobbits to his home at Wellinghall, which is quite a lovely place, deep in the Entwood Fangorn forest.
He should be fine. We don't want to lose a hobbit.
Treebeard has several skills on his hotbar in this instance. He won't be needing them because this is a non-combat space, but it may be possible in this update he will have to.
Forge Forge. And we do have a version of Treebeard with puppets on his shoulders, don't we?
I will neither confirm nor deny that. So here, Treebeard is going to offer the hobbits the End Draught, which is a thoroughly refreshing drink, which has very healthy properties. Now, this drink is so refreshing and healthy and nourishing that over the course of the story, Merry and Pippin do in fact grow taller as a result of drinking this. In our game, and I've set it up so that every time you see them after this moment has taken place, they will indeed be slightly larger. It might be hard to tell. They are in fact slightly larger than they were.
This is an aside. Does End Draught make everything, any creature taller?
I would assume that it would if maybe.
I think Leo's fishing.
Just curious.
So few creatures are invited to taste of its sweet nectar
Nice.
that I told you narration was the most powerful magic. So Treebeard has decided to call a meeting, a moot of Ents, to discuss what should be done about Saruman. Now, the interesting thing about the events of this entire session, and the reason that we are describing it as a story told by Merry, is because all of these events actually happened simultaneously with the Battle of the Hornburg, which took place in our previous expansion. Like the battle is pretty much going on concurrently, but through the power of session play, we can depict it now, which I think is pretty cool. And as Merry is informing us, Ents take a long time to discuss matters. And now we go into a very rapid depiction of the event. Since Ents take so long to talk, for Merry and Pippin, this is the most boring time they have ever spent. I wanted some way to convey how long Ents take to discuss things without actually making you take that long. So we kind of put Merry and Pippin into like rapid time. Like they are running around, they're lying down, they're sleeping, they're getting up, they're bored. The sun is moving in the sky. Pretty happy with how it turned out. But for Treebeard, you know, this is the normal course of discussion. And then Merry comes to the end of his tale because he is hungry. Seems as good a place to stop talking as any.
So we have a question, which is, how many chapters are there in the book?
There are, I believe, 8 chapters in this book, which means that Volume 3, as a total, has 168 chapters in it.
Solid knowledge.
I looked it up recently. That's...
All right, now we're off to quick beam.
Yeah, do we want to? Essentially, like kind of like I covered at the beginning, actually. Since this is the end of Volume 3, we will have taken Saruman from the height of his power to almost the end of his power. You know, he has a few tricks up his sleeve still, but for the time being, he will be pretty thoroughly dealt with by Gandalf over the course of this epic story, and the Ents, as we saw them mobilize. And I'm excited about starting Volume 4 soon. Like, this will be a new story with a new threat and a new path.
Gondor.
Okay, Gondor.
Just spit it out, Jeff. Just
Gondor
spit it
to
out.
Gondor. Never sure what we can say or can't say.
Gee, somebody follow you around and be like, redacted. That's Leo.
Spoilers, we're going to end up in Moria.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No.
It's been there, done that. Redacted.
In the Memoria, we took a wrong turn.
Yeah.
That would be a fun.
So once you get kind of wrapped up with the epic and you kind of figure out what's all going on, with Isengard, get to experience all that. You come into our kind of end game section for this update, which focuses around a new section of Fangorn Forest. This is our third or fourth section. And you wind up meeting Quickbeam on the road to Isengard post-destruction. And he's not really sure what to make of you yet because you're small, but you're not stabbing him. And there's a lot of work to do. So he first asked you to help him do a bunch of cleanup around flooded Isengard. Once you've got that done, he starts to trust that you're not working for Saruman, you're not a leftover, and that maybe there's other things you can help with. And he asks you to meet him back in Fangorn. The overarching idea and driving kind of theme for this section of Fangorn was that it's still, Quickbeam is the first one back. So the majority of the large trees, the Hjorns, have gone and marched to war. It's a section that the majority of this section of Fangorn is has a bit more clearings, has a lot more space between trees. The trees in the whole are a bit smaller than the kind of giant ones that we've seen before. And the idea is, in order to go to war and to convince the forest to wake, Quickbeam and the other Ents got it angry, and they got it really, really, really angry. They, in fact, did too good of a job. And the forest, in many cases, is still really pissed off. Saruman's dealt with for the moment until he goes swimming. But the forest still kind of has acknowledged that, and it's still kind of, the dial's still turned to 11. And our idea was that if you're walking through the forest and you see a rotting log and you pick it up, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that scurries out from underneath it. The Ents basically picked up a log the size of Fangorn. And then they left. So there's a bunch of insects and roots and vines and, really angry Hjorns that are lingering around, and a whole bunch of things to deal with to help calm and quiet the forest back down now that victory has been attained. And Quickbeam wants you to work with him to help accomplish this. There's 4 different kind of components to our end game, different exploration-based questing and repeatable-based questing. There's a series that is the quieting quests, where once a day you'll be sent to randomly one of 6 different locations within this chunk of Fangorn, and be asked to help quiet the forest. And there's different things to do at each location. They randomize daily. You don't know what you're going to get until you get there. And it's kind of just presented as what's in the world and what's happening at that point. We wanted to take a different style with these kind of dailies, where we communicated a bit less up front with what was going on in order to have a fair bit more immersion with what's going on in the game and the world, and have the world be what's changing as opposed to the quest be what's changing. The second set is a series of explorables, where through initially meeting Quickbeam in flooded Isengard, there's a Hjorn that you're asked to help out. This Hjorn has come back to Fangorn with Quickbeam, and you get him as similar to what we did in Numenos. He'll follow you around the forest, and at a dozen different places he'll have quests as he notices things that need to be taken care of and dealt with. Our third section is 3 new resource instances, a wood, a scholar, and a ore. These can all be run daily, kind of with our typical pattern that we've set with those. There are locations, 2 which are underground, and then one of them is a lumber camp. So there are places that the Ents either can't go or aren't overly eager to go to. When you come back from the lumber camp, Quickbeam remarks that he's pleased to see that you're, unlike Ents, you were immune to axes, because surely that's the only way that you were able to come back. They'll give you a whole bunch of additional resources and that kind of stuff. There's 3 quests in each. You can do each of the 3 spaces every day. The 4th component is a new style of quest that we're calling incrementals. And what these are is an arc that has 4, 5, 6 different steps, and you can do 1 step a day. The base idea with these is that Quickbeam has seeds from 3 fallen Ents that used to be really good friends of his that were cut down and destroyed as Saruman encroached upon the forest. He's planted these at various places in Fangorn, and one of them actually at Isengard. And he asks you to do different tasks to help grow the seeds each day. And once you go and do that task, he needs time to think about what the next thing is. And for an Ent, time is not measured as it is for things that are smaller. So he needs a fair bit, it's about 18 hours to think about and ponder and come up with what the next thing to do is. These layer in a really nice way. They allow us to tell the story in a different manner, allow us to pace things out and structure and layer in with the other dailies in a really nice kind of play style. Everything for these has a new reputation that you're all building with the Ents of Fangorn. There's new crafting rewards that can be bartered out from those that make some really nice gear. But the really cool thing that I personally think comes out of these is the 3 seed quests at the end each have a chance to give you a new cosmetic pet. So we're introducing cosmetic pets with this update. There's 3 of them initially, 3 different varieties of Hjorn, 2 that are from Fangorn looking, and one of them that's a black Hjorn with a honeycomb. Kind of dipping our toes in the water here to see, kind of what all does it take to do tech-wise? How do we want to expand upon it? We want to see what the player reaction is. But it's something that we're pretty excited about and adds a really interesting new angle of rewards, of cosmetics, of social aspects to the game.
Question, will the incrementals be repeatable and endless?
Yes. You can only do 1 of the 3 at a time. However, all 3 are repeatable.
And sorry, just to answer your first question, Justin, when will we be starting Volume 4? I believe Aaron is going to
Sure.
lay down
So Volume 4 of the Epic Book will begin with Update 14, and I'll have a lot more to say about that actually in a producer's letter coming out mid-April. So we'll talk about Update 14 and really the rest of this year and going into next year as well.
How many steps to an incremental?
One of them is 4 days, one of them is 5 days, one of them is 6 days.
So is that like 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps, or how many quests?
Each of them is, each incremental is its own quest.
Okay.
So it's 3 quests total.
Okay.
Are cosmetic pets in the store?
The answer is no. There are no cosmetic pets in the store.
So they are gameplay rewards only.
That's where we're starting, and we're going to grow the system as we see how players respond to it.
I'm pretty pleased, by the way, that we didn't break the game when you pulled Chris around. Well done on that.
Hey, I don't break things, man.
I have broken our game many times. Will update cost non-VIPs who have purchased the expansion already?
So the expansion, basically the gate for this update is the expansion pack. This is an extension of Helm's Deep, and kind of a conclusion of Helm's Deep. As Jeff was saying, it's really about closing the Volume 3 storyline and concluding the threat of Saruman. So if you purchased Helm's Deep, all this is free. And yes, we're thinking of VIPs, and we will definitely have free content for VIPs later in the year as well.
Well, there is at least one thing that I can think of that is specific to VIPs in this update, and that's one of the mail changes.
Yeah.
Only VIPs will be able to open their mail on landscape, pretty much anywhere in the world. Everyone will have the ability to send 10 items, but only VIPs can check it anywhere in the world.
Yeah. Will there be a classic quest set, or will we only have the repeatables in the new zone?
The intro arc for Fangorn is about I think it's an 8 to 10 quest intro arc that runs through Flooded Isengard, but Fangorn itself is a repeatable focus technique.
Will some of the rewards be new gear?
Yeah, a bunch of the stuff that as you do the quests, you're earning reputation with the new faction, which is Quickbeam and the Ents of Fangorn. As you get to new levels with that, you'll be able to barter for new crafting recipes, which have a whole bunch of new gear in and associated with that. One of the other things that's coming in this update as well is from Tier 3 skirmishes and some instances, and the platinum bar from Big Battles are first ages.
First age weapons.
Dun, dun, dun.
The new class is being revealed in soon, right? We actually.
Yeah, it's in my producer's letter for April, so it's just a few weeks.
So yeah, more on that very soon.
Well, thanks, Aaron, and everyone on the team for giving us a look at ENT play. That's really, really exciting, and it's so cool. This is there's two different parts of bringing this into the game. Number one, there is just the story portion of it, which with your history and your ability as a company to create these epic stories in game format, I mean, that's obviously going to be awesome. But the flip side of it is this sort of what's been an inside joke in the community, and that fan service, that's a huge part. So, you know, I know I'm selfishly saying this here, but from the community, thank you very much for something that is very much, well, in my case, very much fan service. So thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, and I think we'll cut it there. That's going to be great. I can split that up into an intro and an outro. So thanks a lot, everybody. I'm really excited about this. This is going to be fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for offering to share the video with Jeff.
Yeah, if it doesn't work out for him, let me know, like, if he doesn't get access or something doesn't work or whatever like that. I mean, I'm more than happy to send him the raw video and throw it up on an FTP or something and he can have access to.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chris.
I'm a little sad now that we no longer have the is end play coming.
Oh,
thing.
I'll think of something. I'll think of something. I'll think of something. Don't worry. The next video, there will be something, and you should be dreading it. As we end whatever the next video preview is, then you can expect something. Your heart should be palpitating as you expect something.
We just gave it to you.
What? I totally didn't hear it.
Oliphant play.
Okay, that's it. That's
That
what
was
it's going to be.
for still up play, but that's okay.
So you mentioned the inventory system. Can you give us a little outline of what's new with the inventory system?
Yeah, the new inventory is really nice. If you didn't happen to catch Chris's live stream on it, you're able to move batches of 5 slots in between your different bags. Unlike previously where you had to purchase a new bag, now you'll be able to purchase sets of 5 slots, and everyone will just have 6 bags. You just may end up having empty bags that you need to purchase slots for. Once you go into edit mode, you can pretty much make as many or as few bags as you like, or you can sort them out however you wish, or you can even, if you really want to, you can kind of make a faux toolbar out of them. Now you can put all your pots and potions or whatever in there, and just sort of leave that one open while you're playing, and it'll function, effectively like a toolbar. But there's a lot of customization and personalization you can do with the new inventory system. It's pretty nice.
And Aaron, can you just sum up real quick everything that's coming in Update 13 that's not ENT play? Although, I mean, who would care about anything but ENT play?
Let's see, there's a lot of other stuff in here. We're getting scaling in the Etmors, right? So a lot of people are into that space. Where we've added improvements to inventory. There's a lot of nuts and bolts and things going on that we're adding. We're going back and revising some of the content balance based on feedback, making it more challenging.
The Volume 3 deed will complete, since this is the last book of Volume 3. If you've completed every book of the Epic in Volume 3, you get special rewards.
And if we didn't mention, of course, April 14th launch date.
Oh yeah, there we go. Give it a date.
Well, thanks everyone for watching the video. Thanks to Turbine for bringing me into the stream here to see things. Isengard looks great, the Ents look great, and I can't wait to see more. Thanks everybody, and see you in game.
And I have returned just for that reason. That's the only reason I came back to lead LOTRO was for end play.
He literally.
And after it ships, I can leave again.
This is going to be one of those streams, isn't it?
Yeah.